This is the Silence is Broken in beautiful San Diego, California, to interview community-based organizations, CBOs, throughout the United States to hear their stories and get a feel for what they do with regards to HIV and AIDS in the United States of America. And today we are so happy and so grateful to have Liz Brosnan of Christie's Place here in San Diego, California. And we have Brian Hayes of Youth to Youth. And welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So we'll start with Liz, and I just want you to tell us about Christie's Place and how you came to be here and what you do.
Well, Christie's Place, I think, is a really special place, not only here in California, but I think across the country. We are San Diego's only nonprofit that focuses on serving women, children, and families living with and affected by HIV and AIDS. And we were founded in 1996. We've been in operation for nearly 14 years now. We serve about 1,100 clients, which is about 400 families every year here in San Diego. The majority of our clients are from communities of color. We provide education, we provide comprehensive social services, and we also do a lot of advocacy and social activism to help make sure that women's needs are met. And I've been at Christie's Place I've been involved since the year 2000, so for a decade now. And I was originally on the board of directors, and I was helping the founder of Christie's Place, who actually was Christie's adopted mother, Irene, find a successor, a replacement, because she really founded Christie's Place because there was a need. There was no agency that addressed the needs of women and their children in the county. And so she was, a change agent and a social advocate, and was not really a good administrator, and said, you know what, administration, not that she wasn't a good administrator, but that administration was not her cup of tea, so to speak. And so
she was hands-on.
She was very hands-on. She continues to be involved. She co-facilitates a couple of our support groups that meet in the evening, is on our board of directors now. But she took me to lunch one day, and I was a kid, I was 25 years old, and she said, I met the person who's going to take over Christie's Place. And I was like, that's wonderful. You know, here we are a year later, and I'm looking, and we can't find anybody, and you found somebody, that's fantastic. Glad you waited till the last minute to tell me. And I will never forget, she looked at me and she said, yeah, it's you. And of course my job about dropped, and I thought, oh, wow, I can't do that. Those are some big shoes to fill, and I was still learning so much, just as a young woman. But my heart was always with Christie's Place. I went to school, I was a women's studies major, and I always wanted to work with women. I've always volunteered ever since I was a kid, volunteering at my grandmother's nursing home. Just, community service was such a big part of my life. And then in high school and in college, really getting involved in social activism around women's social justice issues. And so, I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and I would just work in social services for a year, and on the front lines, fight the good fight for a year, and then I'd go to law school. And I fell in love with social services. And through my work there, I got involved with Christie's Place because, when you're talking about women who are living at the margins, when you're talking about women who are truly disenfranchised, even though I hate that word, you're really looking at HIV positive women. There are women they are struggling to survive, and the HIV is only one of the many societal conditions that they are dealing with. They're living in poverty, there's substance abuse issues, there's mental health issues, and so, there's domestic violence issues, economic injustice issues, and so coming to work at Christie's Place was really a dream job for me. And I love it. It's been 10 years, and it's always a new challenge, but I think, at Christie's Place, we've known that HIV has always affected women in very real ways. They're your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your friends, and we've lost a lot of women to this epidemic. And I think it's really important that you all do what you do in terms of getting out there and sharing women's stories, because there is no Magic Johnson for women.
Right.
And, our society continues to stereotype and stigmatize HIV and AIDS. And I think until we continue to combat that, you won't see more women getting into care, more women getting tested. So at Christie's Place, we've always known that HIV affects women, it affects families, it affects everybody. HIV does not discriminate. It's an equal opportunity disease. And we really fight to be able to provide services that meet the needs of women so that they can stay alive, they can stay healthy, they can have a quality of life. and they can continue to help raise the next generation.
Yes, indeed. So your work, there are all these subsets which you talked about.
Yeah.
So HIV, and we could even say health issues or chronic health potential chronic health issues exacerbate other issues that inhibit living a rich, prosperous life.
Yes.
Can you tell us? You said advocacy. For people who don't know what advocacy is, what is advocacy? You know, we see beautiful brochures. We see a place where it seems like it would be a great place for people to come to get help, and we see the quilts on the walls, and we see the fruit of the exterior work that you've done. But when people come here, what happens? How do they find you, and what happens once they get here?
Mm-hmm. They find us a lot through word of mouth, you know, at the doctor's office, at a clinic, you know, a neighbor, a friend of a friend. Also, you know, the internet, the web is becoming an increasing tool to help people find Christie's Place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's word of mouth, it's referrals from other agencies. We also do a lot of social networking. We do as much, you know, public awareness, you know, activities that we can do, health fairs, public service announcements on the radios, you know, email blasts, listservs. We really try to make ourselves as visible as we can, but yet still sometimes feel like we're the best kept secret in San Diego. So, you know, we try through a number of different mediums to get referrals for clients to come, for women to come to Christie's Place. They're greeted by a woman typically who's also living with HIV. We have a really strong peer-based model here at Christie's Place. You know, we find that a lot of women who are positive respond to another woman who's positive, who's in a provider role, because they've walked the walk, you know, they've been in their shoes, and they've navigated this really complex system of care. And so usually they're greeted with a hug and a smile. They're welcomed into the agency. We do an intake and assessment. And really what our core philosophy is about empowerment. That's our core philosophy at Christie's Place. You know, we have, everything that we provide is designed to empower our women and children so that they can take charge of their health and their well-being. So we really start with that. We obviously through our social services address basic needs. We have mental health counseling, case management, you know, getting folks into care and keeping them into care. And then sort of once folks' lives become more stabilized and more manageable, we sort of see them evolve into social activists. Because it's important for them to be at the table where decisions are being made that affect their lives. And historically, women have not been at those tables within the HIV community. And, you know, there's all this politics and things behind it, but at the end of the day, if you're not at that table, you know, giving a voice to the needs of yourself, for your family, and for other women out there who can't be at that table, then your needs aren't going to be addressed and met. And so we've worked really hard here in San Diego over the past 14 years to get women to that place. So we have a number of different advocacy and empowerment and leadership skills trainings available at Christie's Place. Actually, we have a whole branch of the organization called Transformations, the Sisterhood Project, which is sort of helping our clients with this continuum of advocacy. So they come in needing basic needs and support, and they sort of get more stabilized, their healthcare gets, you know, improved, they have access to healthcare, they go to support groups, and then they become mentors. Then they mentor the new women that come in to sort of, to our family here at Christie's Place. And then, you know, they get to go through leadership trainings with us, and then they'll go and they'll be on the HIV Planning Council, or they'll go to the prevention meetings, or they'll go to the State Office of AIDS and fight and say, you know, you can't take $52 million from the HIV budget in California because people will die. And so advocacy is a really important part of what we do at Christie's Place. You know, all of us, there's different levels of advocacy. Some of it could be just writing a letter. Some of it could be, you know, if you see somebody that is making discriminatory comments, you know, not sitting there in silence, because silence is saying something. So to challenge those things and to challenge those beliefs and to really fight for what's important for you. It could be sitting on a planning council. It could be going to Washington, D.C. There's all different levels of advocacy, and we honor each of those different levels sort of on that continuum of advocacy here at Christie's Place.
Beautiful. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So tell us all about Youth to Youth.
Okay. Well, the Youth to Youth Center is a fairly unique program in San Diego. It's a peer provider program, which I wouldn't say is that unique, but ours is really designed to develop by youth. What I do is I take young people, high school and college students that are in the community. We're a national city, so it's a little bit south of San Diego. Majority of them Hispanic, Filipino, minority youth that come from families that, a lot of them are first generation, immigrants that came here. Their parents came over from Mexico or the Philippines, and they really don't have a lot of skills. They don't have a lot of support. They certainly don't have college educations. Their parents don't. So I train them and teach them how to be peer educators, peer providers. And they actually work in our clinic. We are a healthcare clinic, but we're also a teen center. So they become peer providers. They are the ones that counsel youth. They talk to them about it's comprehensive reproductive health services, but we really focus on HIV, STD prevention, and pregnancy prevention. So they're kind of the first stop. And youth come in and they get to see someone that maybe they went to school with, maybe they didn't, someone that's their age, that is a familiar face that's in the same world as theirs. And they help them kind of navigate this healthcare system, and they give them some advice and kind of hear their stories and where they're at right now, and kind of give them some tips about where they can, what services they might receive, how to talk to your doctor, how to talk to your parents about sex, how to talk to your partner about using condoms and negotiation skills. They actually do the HIV testing themselves, so our peer providers actually, we use the rapid testing, oral testing, so they'll be in there and they're the whole way with them. They'll walk them over the clinic if they need further testing or if they need to get, birth control or some other contraceptive device. They'll sit there in the clinic with them. Sometimes they'll even go in with the doctor's office with them and kind of be that friend to hold their hands. And the other aspect is actually go out and do education. So I also teach them to be teachers. So we have contracts with the schools, all the public schools and juvenile court schools and magnet and charter schools, and they are teaching a curriculum. We have a 6-week curriculum about comprehensive sex education. We do HIV 101 classes, and they are the teachers there. So it's kind of this really unique program where we have 16-year-old kids that are, teaching, their friends and their peers how to take care of their health and how to take charge of that. And I really like what Liz says about empowerment. That's really what we are doing as well. We are empowering them to kind of, speak up for their rights, because youth do have rights, and they have a lot of voice. Although it's not a political voice necessarily, because they can't always vote if they're under 18. And but it's learning what those skills are and how to actually speak up for yourselves, and say I want to use a condom, or say I want to get tested, or I don't want to have sex if that's what they choose. So it's this really great program. I've been involved for it for about, I'm going on 6 years now. My background as a teacher, I was trained in, or I come from the East Coast. I went to school in Massachusetts to be a high school teacher. So I was a health teacher for years, and I moved out here, and I just didn't really know what I was applying for a job. I just got hired there, and suddenly I just found this wonderful place, and we really started developing this program more and more. The more I learned about the organization, which is Operation Samahan. It's been around for about 30 years. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the work we do. Samahan is actually a Tagalog word, Filipino, and it means working together. And that's really the heart of what our organization does. We work with the community. We go to these meetings. We go to advocacy groups. We go to things like the AIDS Walk, or we do events like National HIV Testing Day. And we really get involved in the community and collaborate with everyone, because this is not just an individual problem. This is a community problem. This is a worldwide problem, and we all need to work together to solve this. And that's what we do. And I really think it's a really neat way for the youth to connect to their friends and kind of find directions. We have one girl that actually, she's a case manager now, and she didn't really have a lot of, she was I think a sophomore in college, and she didn't really know what she was doing, and now she's going on to nursing school. She just got accepted into it, and she tells me, she's like, I've never thought I would have done this, and because of this job, she's like, I'm going to be a nurse now, and she's actually going to give back. And that's the kind of thing that we do, is we give them skills and kind of give them hope for the future, and say, they may have never even thought about going to college or even graduating high school, but now because of these jobs and the people that they're meeting, they're actually, finding direction and seeing a future for themselves. So it's this really powerful program that really does a lot of great work in the community and helps a lot of people out. It's really nice.
That's a great, that's networking.
Yeah,
the network,
absolutely.
Expanding over time. How do they find